involuntary recurrent memory is a psychological phenomenon in which an individual has a sudden, usually powerful, re-experiencing of a past experience or elements of a past experience.
Okay, so my memory is lousy. It doesn't come to me much under my control, which we'll talk about later, but when it does come, it actually, as mentioned before, is quite arresting and takes over the psyche, and I guess you would say I have what you would call flashbacks. I am disoriented, I am incapacitated during these moments. The sensory phenomenon just completely takes over my whole psyche. It's hyperized in my mind, and so that both during and after it, I'm aware that it's not the actual memory, because it's not my synesthesia, my spirits. They alter it. They do things with it. This was sort of like a hyperized impression of a memory. Is the best way of saying it. But that impression is super visceral, like you're actually there. But it's so altered, so off from the original memory. I'm aware that I'm not actually having the original memory, but that doesn't change it from being like I'm there. But like my hallucinations and my imaginary friends, which like we call spirits, and the voices, I'm aware where that's coming from. So when I hear voices, I don't look around the room. I did when I was younger, but no, I graduated from that, and I no longer look around the room. I know they're coming from me.
These experiences can be happy, sad, exciting, any emotion one can consider. The term is used particularly when the memory is recalled involuntarily and or when it is so intense that the person relives the experience, unable to fully recognize it as memory and not something that is happening in real time.
Yes. For example, I don't want to give too many because, again, I don't enjoy sharing, but I have very little recollection of most of my life. But I do remember that my dad was disappointed in me at some point, to the degree that he felt it necessary to spit in my face. I was that disgusting to him. My spirits say that my behavior was not that disgusting. It was, if anything, just a boy being a boy, but it was disgusting. And so sometimes when I see a "that's disgusting" scene in a movie, in a book, in people at a restaurant who are having that, and there's just the faintest of that vibe being sent by one person to another, it can seize me. Me watching that, and I will have to very strongly resist the urge to not want to wipe the spit off my face. Yep. So that happens all the time. That's just one thing, but that kind of thing happens all the time. So, but again, I'm used to it. I don't wipe my face. I'm aware there's not actually spit in my face. I know I'm still sitting at a table alone. I'm aware that I'm watching a TV episode all by myself on a couch. So I know nothing's actually changed. But the sensation is, it's wet. It feels nasty. I really want to wipe my face off. Yeah.
Paranoia. Paranoid personality disorder is a psychiatric diagnosis characterized by paranoia and a pervasive, long-standing suspiciousness and generalized mistrust of others. Those with the condition are hypersensitive, are easily slighted.
Okay, pause. Two different things here, both which are very worth mentioning. One is the mistrust. No, I don't trust most humans. This is because most humans let me down most of the time. I love my parents and owe them debts that I can never repay, but mixed in with that is a great deal of fear and rage. That needs to be said. I had no reason to trust those around my neighborhood. They didn't interact with me in a way that engendered trust. I had no reason to trust my teachers at school. I had no reason to trust the rich kids that were mocking me. as far as the teachers, I disagreed with some of their stupid assertions, and I could beat them in their own classroom. I could beat them in their own classroom as a boy. It was easy. Yeah, I could beat them in their own classroom easily as a boy. They didn't like that. They tended to want to break me. So I learned not to trust teachers, gurus, because most of them, when you're smarter than them, they don't like that. So again, you can be paranoid, but it doesn't mean that people are not to get you. So no, when you dismantle teachers in front of their class, they do try to come after you. And if you're the kind of person who's as smart as I am, and I'm really smart, then you're going to be correcting a lot of teachers in their classrooms. So it's good to mistrust them to a great degree. So I don't have reasons to trust, really. When I actually eventually tried to show him what was going on in my head, he both seemed to forget that I am really, really smart and beat him at everything and beat most people at everything, and he somehow thought that I couldn't do it because he can't do it. That's something I mistrust humans for. Since they're stupider than me, they have less character than me. I don't trust them to see the right thing, and I don't trust them that they did see the right thing, they would do the right thing after they saw it. No. I don't have enough data for me to make that kind of stance. I have no reason to do that. Even my grappling students, which is why you're my former students now, none of you are my students anymore. Yep, bye-bye. Because apparently I didn't teach you very much. While I was teaching you grappling, I hope you all know I was teaching you philosophy. And not enough of it stuck, at least not from the ones I contacted to come help me out with this thing I'm doing now. I didn't teach you enough, so you're not my students. And do I have reason to trust you? I don't know, guys. Did I give you the arm drag game before it was even invented by the best grapplers? Yes, I did. Did I invent moves constantly that would show up in the most high level in our sport? Way before anyone else was doing it. Way before, way better. On the cheap. So I have to say, as a teacher, I'm pretty fucking amazing. I am eccentric and everything, but the upside is that I don't go out much, so I'm pretty cool just hanging out with my people. And you get world-class stuff. Can I trust you to make weight? No. You asked me to go to tournaments. I didn't go to tournaments. You guys asked me that, so I said okay. But if you go to tournaments, that's a ritual. It's kind of public. It sucks when you lose, so you want to get it right. You said, Roger, Roger. You didn't train enough. You didn't train hard enough. You didn't make weight. And then you come to me wondering what went wrong. You went wrong. I told you I'd love you guys forever, and I do. And when I walk you on that mat back then or sometime in the future, I got your back. But I'm not loving you. I'm not a good teacher if I actually watch your performance over 3 months before a tournament and you're not doing what you need to do. So I can't do that kind of thing anymore. I can't actually keep letting that kind of thing happen because it's training me to mistrust humans. I've got to go find some humans I can trust. Because I've been told throughout my life that friends and family and former students, that shit's real important. And that's how I played my hand. I played my hand based on that being really, really important. But I'm doing everything right now that should make you guys all be helping me out like the greatest heroic movie ever just landed on you, and it has, and that's not happening. So I don't have a reason to trust. That's not paranoia. You can call that what you want, we can use that term because I'm so extreme, but I've had an extreme life, and most humans are extremely stupid. Get used to me saying that. I'm tired of holding that in. I remember being asked a lot as a child, why do you always gotta be right? No, they didn't ask me why do you always gotta think you're right. They're not that stupid. No one would be stupid enough Not my parents, not my sisters, no friends who know me who's stupid enough to say to my face, why do you gotta always think you're right? Because I would dismantle them. Because I am right. A lot. I'm right a lot more than other humans. And that hurts other humans' feelings. Well, fuck their feelings. Their stupidity is hurting my feelings. It's hurting the feelings of my new friends. So I ain't gonna let that happen. I'm not gonna stand for that. So I'm paranoid about that. But my spirits say I am properly paranoid about that. Because that's gotta not happen anymore. I gotta be hypervigilant. What was the other one? What was the other one?
Easily slighted.
Easily slighted. Yes, I am. Actually, though, my spirits tell me my ego is very small for the talent I have, but when I was young, I had this incredible talent. I am a super genius. At least he said aesthesia. But I didn't really know what to do with it, and most of the time I was being eccentric, so... What was it again?
Easily slighted.
My spirits don't like that humans are stupid. They think humans do stupid things all the time, and my spirits were slighted. I guess technically I'm slighted too, but since I was powerless around people who had power but didn't use it correctly for so long, I really wasn't in a position to feel slighted. Although I know most people know me are like, you gotta be kidding me, that dude's like the touchiest motherfucker ever. Okay, so yeah, if you thought I was touchy before, woohoo! Get ready for world-class touchy. That was nothing. That was like the fucking tip of an iceberg that took down the Titanic. If you thought I was touchy, I know everyone's scared of me already. That's nothing. That was chains on, baby. Chains are coming off because my spirits were right to be slighted. Humans are stupid, but I didn't have the words to say it. I had the evidence to prove it. I have those words now. I have that evidence. I have these new friends who got my back. So I'm gonna get slighted. When stupid shit happens, yeah! Knock it off! It annoys me. It offends. It's up in my grill. It's bothering our wavelengths. It's messing with our vibe. Knock it off! Or I'll make you. Is that easily slighted? And that's me then! Easily slighted! For stupid shit! Stupid shit slights me easily. I have very little tolerance. I am a HSP on that. Highly sensitive person. Yeah, a little stupid. That's what it does to me! That much stupid gets me that pissed off, you motherfuckers. Now I'm getting power. I'll be showing you when I'm slighted. I'll be showing everyone I'm slighted. And everyone's slighting me. Because everyone you're talking to, everyone you're listening to, all those people, mom and dad, that you ever mentioned to me you thought were smart, I thought were stupid. I'm going to show them all how stupid they are now that I can. And it's going to give me some relief. Maybe I'll stop being slighted so easily, but I would not hold your breath.
And habitually relate to the world by vigilant scanning of the environment for clues or suggestions to validate their prejudicial ideas or biases. Paranoid individuals are eager observers. They think they are in danger and look for signs and threats of that danger, disregarding the fact.
Here's where I am not paranoid. That's why this word doesn't really apply to me, but it'll make the most sense because people are going to accuse me of it. I have facts to back me up. There's nothing I'm saying in this email that's not true. I do have all these conditions. That is irrelevant because of the intelligence and performance that I'm going to be able to demonstrate. It's all irrelevant. So I'm not paranoid on that. I'm not paranoid that it's going to bother people how strong what I bring in is going to be. And what I think is going to work is going to work. I'm not bringing anything in that's going to support my arguments just because I want it to. That's things other humans do. That's the weakness in other humans that I correct. I hope everyone in this email knows that much about me already. How many times a day do I correct you stupid people's work when I'm around you? It probably annoys you. That was nothing. That was me being disassociated. I'll be correcting you every 5 seconds. Every book you show me, I'll be correcting. Because I'm paranoid about it being stupid. You push your knowledge on me, alchemist. It was nice, but let's be honest. Didn't have to correct its work. Take God out, put in natural law, take this by. So there's nothing you're going to show me. There's no book you're going to show me that I shouldn't be properly paranoid that's probably going to try to get some stupid in me, like it got in you. I am paranoid. Everyone's kind of got stupid viruses on them, and I don't want them on me. I'm paranoid about your stupidity getting on me.
They tend to be guarded and suspicious and have quite constricted emotional lives. Their incapacity for meaningful emotion.
I will say constricted. Well, that depends. Do you consider only talking to mainly imaginary people 95% of the time, spirits 95% of the time? Then yes, it's constricted, but I don't consider that constricted. Am I lacking companionship? No. Am I lacking loving companionship? No, my spirit's love me more than a human ever has. Am I lacking stimulating conversation? No, they stimulate me and pleasure me and interest me far more than humans do. So I don't feel a lack of that. I'm really smart too, like in most stats when dealing with spirits. And I just don't feel a lack. Go on.
Their incapacity for meaningful emotional involvement and the general pattern of isolation.
Oh, last one. They're smart too. So when I don't talk to you humans, you guys could come away with the idea that he must be some stupid troll, but you all know me already, and you should know I'm smarter than everyone in this email. Please tell me you know that already. If not, why have you been talking? Okay, the only question is exactly how much of a super genius you are. If any of you in this email think you're anywhere close to as smart as I are, just slap yourself for being stupid. All of you, I know your shit, I know what you can do, it's very impressive, but it's got nothing on me.
And the general pattern of isolated withdrawal often lend a quality of schizoid isolation to their
Oh,
life
so
experience.
one last thing, constricted. It's not constricted. I would say it's expansive. I would say by talking to my spirits most of the time, I've actually skipped most of the dumb dialogue people have to deal with. They have to deal with other friends saying stupid things to them. But I don't. When I talk to my spirits, as you both know, they only give me like absolute hard truth all the time. Truth and love. That's pretty much all they give me. So I don't feel the lack. Except they, my spirits, do sometimes, like now, want me to have contact. And when they urge me to do that, I make that contact. This is not contact, in case you're wondering. This is a farewell. I'm going to make contact, but when I go to make that contact, I must be pure. Untoxic. I must cut loose of these things that weigh on me, so I can approach my new friends with an open heart, open mind, open hand. So I need to drop some things. I'll be dropping in this email. As I said, feel no need to keep reading. I don't need you to. You need to keep reading. There's more in it for you than me. This is a long fucking email because my spirit said I gotta actually do it right. I would do this much shorter. I don't feel like this effort. But they said do it, so I do it.
Separation anxiety disorder, which is the feeling of excessive and inappropriate levels of anxiety over being separated from a person or place. Separation.
So yeah, I'm being constricted. Quite the opposite. I feel so awesome in there. The constriction comes from usually other humans. When I say other humans, please don't think I'm a total dissociated freak. I'm just saying that because I'm a human, I'm aware I'm a human. But I don't like most other humans. I mean, I'm aware I'm a part of the species and so forth, but most humans have not been trained by their cultures, by their sciences, by their wisdoms very well from whatever land they came from. So they're not doing a very good job most of the time. So it actually inhibits the really awesome conversation I'm having in my head. In fact, most of my happiest moments is when I'm not being intruded by other humans. So the constriction usually comes from the HSP and then humans hitting the HSP, and then I can't talk with my spirits. That is a problem, and that caused me intense separation anxiety. When I was very young, I guess maybe I had separation anxiety from my parents, but I don't think so. I think the fear kicked in way sooner, so that when they weren't around, I was glad that I wasn't scared. So, what was that sentence?
Separation anxiety is a...
Oh, so the main thing happened is I used to get lonely, but then my spirits would come to me, and then I wouldn't be lonely. But then things would happen. It took me a while to learn what what this was, my HSP and other eccentricities, they'd leave me. So I could actually be in a crowded room. I could be surrounded by my family and have intense separation anxiety hit me, because I have a stronger attachment to my spirits, because they've been wiser and kinder to me. So there's the separation anxiety, which you call maybe even, I guess, OCD, and even paranoia all mixed in there. I worry all the time about my spirits going away. That's why I'm doing this email. My spirits say that I have to do it, and if I do these kinds of things the way they want me to, then they're happy with me and they hang out with me, and that's extremely important to me. It's the most important thing to me, that they hang out with me and they be pleased with the way I live my life. They have a very, very high standard. To give you an idea, they early on took the role of granddad, who I know you all look up to. My spirit liked him. They thought he was a spiffy human. There aren't many spiffy humans, but he's a spiffy one. Shiny spiffy. So, I talked to him all the time. I talked to granddad more than I talked to my own dad. The granddad in my head taught me more than my real dad in the flesh. I don't want to let it be, problematic, but it's good that I be highly attuned to not losing that connection. So I am very anxious of ever being separated from that connection. And so that is a good anxiety if it doesn't freeze me but causes me to do things that take me to the next step that they like. And so this email will do that, and so they'll be pleased with me, although I know probably most of you will not be.
Separation anxiety is a normal part of development in babies or children, and it is only when this feeling is excessive or inappropriate that it can be considered a disorder.
So, I have separation anxiety, but I don't consider anxiety to be inherently a pathology. All of you! That doesn't impress me. Seriously.
Mania. Mania, the presence of which is a criterion for certain psychiatric diagnoses, is a state of abnormally elevated or irritable mood, arousal and/or energy levels. In a sense, it is the opposite of depression.
So those that know me probably are more familiar with this aspect of my character, although I control this as well, so it seems not too crazy most of the time. Although some of you may disagree, some past exploits. But be that as it may, the mania comes from the HSP, and well, really all the things I've mentioned so far, they hit my system to the point, like you, Dad, that I get highly aroused easily. It's kind of like a panic attack, except you can unleash it. You can start moving with a panic attack, and that panic attack energy actually can become productive or aggressive. And it feels good. It feels good to unleash that energy in that way. So again, I don't know if this mania is necessarily bad, because like right now, my spirits have been agitated for a while at the way that my family, friends, and former students have been responding to my entreaties to come check out what I have been working on and its importance. That agitation puts me in a state that is quicker to not accept unheroic ongoings, and when applying its energies to make things go the heroic way they need to, they are hyperized. But this is not necessarily a bad thing. I hope you don't think so, Dad, because you've got this big time. In fact, many of the things that you brag about, many of the stories you brag about, are actually you in this mode. I have this mode as well. There are a finite number of cognitive configurations, and my dad and I share the same one, as do several of the other people in this email. One thing that configuration, I'll just tell you what mine is now. It's Nai-G. That won't mean anything to you right now, but that's fine. Just know that everything I've said so far does have relation to the fact that I'm configured in a particular way. So my dad and my mom both are Nai-G, and again, so are several of my grappling students and friends. They share this. And actually, when done correctly, it's one of the things that people find very impressive about us. We don't wait for shit. We don't look around for other heroic people to show up. We are the heroic people. I mean, we've got all this energy in us, and we gotta do something with it. So we do. And as long as you do the right thing with it, then that's okay. And as long as the energies don't get excessive or flow over. I'm not going to say to you that I've always done it right. No. I'm an intense individual. It took a while to learn how to steer myself. But it's necessary in order to get a zone that you need. Dad, you'll understand this from being a police officer. When you show up on the scene, mania is kind of a correlation to depression. In fact, mania can cause depression in others. It's like a spell. So if you look at most police officers, most SWAT officers, they are in a state of mania when they kick in that door. You know why? They wish with that manic, heroic energy to suppress the villains. They wish that mania, that heightened energy, that quick, I'll touch you, I'll put my hands on you, I will put my penis out, I will shoot, I will grab, I will do things. I am that quick to doing stuff. I'm active. There's no lethargy in me. There is actually, there's an eagerness to go forward. There's a want for action, a desire, a need for action, almost sexual. It makes you good at high energy moments. You do it right. So, do I have mania? Yes. I prefer to think of myself as very focused, and I know how to gear up when needed. Now, there is some of you who are going to say that I gear up more than needed and more often than needed. I'll accept touchy. I'll accept touchy. I don't think I'm manic, I think I'm touchy. But I think it's good. A hero needs to be touchy. When surrounded by stupid people or villains, yeah, because stupidity lingers, villainy encroaches. It's kind of going to be high-tempered about that. I like being high-tempered about that. Dad, although you don't do it as elegantly as you can, I like this about you. I like that you don't wait. You go. You can't stand it. I think your heart would explode if you waited. Your body starts twitching. You start moving. You start getting out of the chair. You can't stop yourself. You have to do something with this heroic energy. You cannot stand idle. Does this sound familiar, Dad? Okay, well, I got that too. Except I do different things than you. You always want to take out, like, guys in bars. That doesn't interest me. I want to take out the biggest players on this planet who are pushing models of thought people shouldn't be using. The biggest bullies of this entire planet and the entire history of this planet. I'm ambitious.
Non-epileptic attacks. A convulsion is a medical condition where body muscles contract and relax rapidly and repeatedly, resulting in an uncontrolled shaking of the body. Because a convulsion is often a symptom of an epileptic seizure, the term convulsion is sometimes used as a synonym for seizure. However, not all epileptic seizures lead to convulsions, and not all convulsions are caused by epileptic seizures. Psychogenic non-epileptic seizure,
That's me.
also known as non-epileptic attack disorders, are events superficially resembling an epileptic seizure but without the characteristic electrical discharges associated with epilepsy. Instead, psychogenic non-epileptic seizures are psychological in origin and may be thought of as similar to conversion disorder.
So yes, my body twitches. This happens all the time. It doesn't have to be a bad thing, but it's definitely something that has to be aware of because of the consequences of it. So these convulsions happen because of the HSP. They happen because of the other things mentioned. So much energy comes into the body, so much energy comes into the psyche that it courses through the body that, like the mania, there's a desire to move still. I mean, to move, right? To not be idle. Well, it's kind of like a car that's revving its engine up. That's the mania. What I call getting geared up. When you hold it in place, it starts to make the car shake. If you rev the engine and put the brake on the same time, the car shimmies, shakes, warps. That's what this is. It's not epileptic. I mean, I know what it is. I can feel the energy coming into me, the anger. the intense anger that comes from being poked on a lot, because when you have HSP, basically the world's poking on you a lot and it's annoying. So there's a desire to do something to make the environment better, to master it. That's where the mania gearing up comes in, but sometimes it's not appropriate. Maybe you're in a boardroom, maybe you're in a courtroom, maybe you're in a bedroom. It's not appropriate. So you hold it. There will be shaking. That's what happens to me. My body will start to shake. Now, those of you who know me, you may or may not know this, I've done this in front of you many times, particularly if you've ever grappled with me. Because I find physical confrontation distasteful and unnerving. So I start getting very nervous, very anxious. So then my psyche protects me by kicking in the rage, the fury, the mania, and it pushes back that fear. But to do that, it sends my body into a state of charged excitement. It literally must do some of this energy that is summoned in order to squelch the fear. If you see me on the mat, you'll see me shaking my arms out. I move myself in certain ways, and I've stylized this so that it looks like I'm warming up or just gearing up for a fight, which is acceptable. Convulsions aren't acceptable. Twitching is not acceptable. Looking animalistic before you fight, that's acceptable. So that's how I hide it. I'm very good at hiding my eccentricities. This actually, again, like some of the other ones, can be a good thing if done correctly. For example, when I'm sparring, I use these convulsions to help me win. I convulse when I have strong grips in order to yank on the opponent. That's why I yank so hard. People always comment on how hard. I know how to yank hard. You go to the gym with me, especially now, I suck. But even at my peak, I'm not that strong. Not for how strong I can yank. People are scared to lock up with me. Disproportionately to how strong I am. I've never been that strong. But I can freak out. I can freak out to a point that my body convulses, and I can do so in a controlled way, and I can do so after I have my hands on you in a way that's very logical and strategic. It's very effective. It's one of the reasons why I win. People often wonder, I'm able to win outside what my body looks like it can do. Two main reasons are that and something else, which I'll get into later, but mainly it's mind jobbing. Nige, you're good at mind jobbing. Both my parents are very good at mind jobbing. I had to protect myself against that. We'll get to that in a second. Let's continue.
Depression. Psychotic major depression, PMD, or simply psychotic depression, is a term for a major depressive episode, particularly...
Pause. Okay, so I have depression too, and it's reoccurring, so it's major depression. I have had many bouts over my life. And I know where they come from. They don't surprise me. It's annoying how much I know they're coming. First, the sensitivities are agitated, then the fear and anxiety comes, then the rage, the fury pushes that. Then if I don't use that energy, the convulsions and twitchings happen, and if I try to lock the twitching convulsions, eventually the engine goes, it just kind of like blows a gasket or something. It kind of like goes into default. I guess the best analogy would be like a circuit breaker. It kind of just like, okay, that's too much stress. At some point, it just shuts my circuits down, and I get depressed.
Particularly of melancholic nature, where the patient experiences psychotic symptoms such as delusions or less commonly hallucinations.
So yes, as I mentioned, I'm prone to such things, voices, hallucinations, yada yada yada. When this happens, anytime situations or stimulus occur that encourage detachment, dissociation, this increases. So during that kind of thing, when the energy is coming up and then it gets locked down, then the circuit breaker is pulled, there is a usually corresponding increase in a lot of the other things that are mentioned so far. So anytime that happens, there will be voices heard stronger and more insistently than normal, more forgetfulness, more confusion over what my actual name and identity is, and so forth. I snap out of it, but I do try to avoid those things because I'm aware of how I work, and then when that happens, I will shut down, and I'll have to deal with my eccentricities being a bit more active than I would like them to be.
Melancholic depression is characterized by a loss of pleasure in most or all activities, a failure of reactivity to pleasurable stimuli, a quality of...
Well, that's because what has happened is, and this is very, makes sense with the HSP, I guess, there's already a desire to pull away, to try and desensitize oneself. Being so sensitive, there's an attempt to do that, and the really only way to do it is to disassociate. Since you're so sensitive, you really can't be unsensitive, but you can disassociate from that sensation coming in. When you do that, you dissociate from most sensation, from most pleasure, from most things that interest you in life, but that's because you've put sunblock, FBS, 400 on, so it blocks everything. You're not going to get a tan. You're blocking out everything. So that's kind of what happens. Is it's a safety mechanism. I'm glad that my psyche does this. If it didn't do these kinds of things, I never would have made it to my childhood. I never would have made it to my neighborhood. I never would have made it to my schooling. I would have made it.
A quality of depressed mood more pronounced than that of grief or loss, a worsening of symptoms in the morning hours, early morning walking, psychomotor retardation, excessive weight loss, or excessive guilt. Major depressive disorder, commonly called...
So yes, I do have the guilt that comes from, even though I have all these eccentricities and it's very complicated and yada yada yada, still it is me, and my spirits think that I should take care of that. And so when I have not managed my life to such a degree that I can prevent these kinds of things happening, I can't prevent the circuit breaker of my psyche from getting pulled, I feel lousy. Yeah, I feel like shit. I feel like I didn't play very well. I feel like I crashed my car. So that preoccupies me for a while after these occurrences happen. It preoccupies me while it's happening, because when I detached, I'm kind of like in a little space in my head, kind of like I went to detention, except my psyche sent me to detention. And now I'm like in detention going, I did bad, or something, because I must have done bad because they felt the need to pull my card.
Major depressive disorder, commonly called major depression, unipolar depression, or clinical depression, where a person has one or more depressive episodes. After a single episode,
you can skip that. So, yeah. As I said, I have the big one because I have them all the time.
Bipolar disorder or manic depressive disorder, which is also referred to as bipolar affective disorder or manic depression, is a psychiatric diagnosis that describes a category of mood disorders defined by the presence of one or more episodes of abnormally elevated energy levels, cognition, and mood with or without one or more depressive episodes.
So, I guess you would say that I have this kind of thing as well, although the cognitive configuration that I have, as do my parents and others in this email, mood swings are kind of part of the deal. So, mood swings, everyone has them, but they can be quite extreme in my configuration, and because of the life I've had, the natural extremeness of mood swings that is pervasive in my configuration is exacerbated to a notable level for myself.
The elevated moods are clinically referred to as mania, if milder, hypomania.
Okay, so bipolar, like my other eccentricities, although it sounds extreme, and I guess it is, I am aware of it. And because of that, although I do have to go to great lengths, I do a lot of workarounds, my life has basically been a long series of workarounds of these eccentricities I have. I can hide it well. So that's why many of you may not be aware of it. It's one of the reasons that allowed me to know that I have it. I recognized myself early on and that I didn't want to show it. So it became very important to me that I control my moods, or more accurately, that I could appear to control my moods. Hence why some of you may have seen me in my life, depending on how you know me, as being a supremely chilly and controlled individual. To the point where you may wonder if I'm the kind of person who gets very moved by anything. That was necessary. It was necessary to actually set my psyche like that in order to handle the mood swings that are being thrown to me by my psyche itself. So in order to control that, I had to get to where pretty much nothing throws me around. So when I control or hide the bipolarness or the massive mood swings, it's necessary to mute how much the environment can agitate me, because that would just defeat all of the work I did to control or hide mood swings that I had at that point. So I don't want to allow the environment to rile me or see that it can rile me. I don't want to do that. I want to show that weakness. I don't put the love in the water.
Individuals who experience manic episodes also commonly experience depressive episodes or symptoms, or mixed episodes in which features of both mania and depression are present at the same time. These episodes are usually separated by periods of normal mood, but in some individuals, depression and mania may rapidly alternate, which is known as rapid cycling.
So I have both. I have periods of rapid cycling, and then I have normal periods where I'm just having hallucinations and voices and talking to spirits.
Extreme manic episodes can sometimes lead to psychotic symptoms as delusions and hallucinations.
Mental fatigue. Fatigue also includes mental fatigue, not necessarily including any muscle fatigue. Such of mental fatigue in turn can manifest itself both in somnolence, decreased wakefulness, or just as generalized general decrease of attention.
Okay, asking me pointedly many times if I was on drugs. This is because I looked like I was in stupor. That was partly due to the fact that I stayed up all hours of the night and slept through the day if I could. But besides that was just massive mental fatigue. Keeping track of these eccentricities, I gotta tell you, by the time I was 12 years old, I carried a heavy burden a long ways. I could teach a lot of old men about how to carry a large load a long ways. It's tiring. Writing this email is tiring, but I need to do it. It's one of the many things I have to do. It's tiring, the things my eccentricities require me to do. My spirits require me to do. I don't mind those. I mean, I like to do those to be the hero, but they take energy. And the eccentricities, hiding them takes a lot of energy. And so that's one of the main reasons of writing this email as well, is that I won't be hiding that in the future, not in the many interviews that I will be needing to give in the coming years. I'm going to be world famous, as will my theory and the top practitioners of it. And when this happens, I need to be able to talk about my theory, about my new friends, about what's going on, and not have to do the mental calculations every 5 seconds of wondering if I've let one of my eccentricities slip. I'm too old, I'm too tired of that shit. It's not doing it anymore. So I'm telling all of you, and then after that, I won't care who knows. So it's off my chest, it's out in the open. I don't care what you all do with it. I just need you all to know, and now I can go about my life, and I think that my mental fatigue is going to ease. My life I don't think is ever going to be easy. I don't think it's a life that's laid out for me, but I think I could do it a lot better if I had more energy. And so I need to drop this unnecessary partitioning of my life. My eccentricities are an intrinsic part of my life. they need to be spoken of in such a way, and I need to be around people who are comfortable with that.
It may also be described as more or less decreased level of consciousness. In any case, this can be dangerous when performing tasks that require constant concentration, such as driving a vehicle. For instance, a person who is sufficiently somnolent may experience microsleeps.
Yes. Luckily, I have a very good focus and control of myself, which is necessary, because if I didn't, then yes, that would happen to me. I live in a state of constant mental fatigue, battle fatigue. I've lived in a constant state of stress fatigue since I was a child till right now. So, what's that last thing?
May experience microsleeps.
Yes. So, kind of like truckers who drive too long, it just happens. You slip. These little sleeps, they happen to you. They happen to me all the time when I'm driving, when I'm in the grocery store all the time. I just nod off. I'm just standing and I just nod off. And it's weird, like I'm physically there, but my brain just checks out. It takes forced leaves of absence. And the more stressed I get, the more fatigued I get, the more it just does. It just takes those, and they've been getting more and more increasing as I've been working on my project, and it's demanding more of me.
Schizoid personality disorder is a personality disorder characterized by a lack of interest in social relationships, a tendency towards a solitary lifestyle, secretiveness, and emotional coldness. SPD is not the same as schizophrenia, although they share some similar characteristics such as detachment or blunted affect.
Well, I've learned that in life there are times that you do not want to be there. You are, but you don't want to be there. In fact, if you need power to not be there, you'd not be there, but you don't have that power. Or do you? I do. I cannot be there even when I'm there, if necessary. Hours and hours and hours and days and weeks, and it's relentless, and you must not be weak of mind, body, spirit. In no way be weak. It gets to you. Oh, what's the last thing?
The blunted affect, detachment or blunted affect.
So the schizoid, it allows for a bubble, sort of like a cocoon. So I learned that I could do that in life, and I don't do it all the time because I don't want to disassociate, but sometimes it's better than allowing the world to get on you, allowing the world to abuse you. My psyche has the power to pull that trump card, and it has needed to, and in the future, if it needs to do it, it'll do it again, and I thank it for it. It's one of the reasons I forget things. It pulls me away when shit gets too base, too low, too mean. It just pulls me away. I thank natural law for that. That's another thing I would not have been able to make it without. So these eccentricities, I thank natural law for evolving me with most of these, because if I didn't have them, I wouldn't have made it. I have a lot of abilities, but I was pushed hard. Luckily, I found them. They freaked me out at first, and they're probably freaking you out, but I'm glad I have them.
Covert schizoid. There are many fundamentally schizoid individuals who present with an engaging interactive personality style which contradicts the timidity, reluctance, or avoidance of the external world and interpersonal relationships.
Pause. So this would be very relevant to me in case that last one you're like, that doesn't seem like the me you know. That's because I don't feel like showing it. Kind of learn to avoid that. You learn to burrow deep inside your mind and protect yourself. I mean, apparently it's a really cool secret agent technique, and I guess that would have been cool if I was going to secret agent school, but I wasn't. I was going to breakfast.
These individuals are secret schizoids who present themselves as socially available, interested, engaged, and involved in interacting in the eyes of the observer.
This is because I had to be able to produce responses. Even though I was shaking to the point that I had to go nearly catatonic to stop the shaking, I had to go into that and be able to speak. Still speak. So I'm really good at speaking when my psyche is got me jumping out of my skin.
While at the same time he or she is apart, emotionally withdrawn, and sequestered in a safe place in his or her own internal world. So while withdrawnness or detachment from the outer world is a characteristic feature of schizoid pathology, it is sometimes overt and sometimes covert. While it is overt, it matches the usual description of a schizoid personality. It is just as often a covert, hidden internal state of the patient in which what meets the objective eye may not be what is present in the subjective internal world of the patient. One should not misidentify the schizoid patient because one cannot see the patient's withdrawnness through the patient's defensive compensatory engaging interaction with the external reality.
For example, many times teaching classes, the idea of leaving my room filled me with terror to the point where I couldn't move. But I would order my body to move, I would command it to move, and I'd start going down the stairs. And then as I did so, I would tell myself, with fear greater than the fear I was feeling, that if I didn't get my shit together, it was going to be worse, and I really had reason to be scared. People would realize what an eccentric fucker I am, and I couldn't have that. So I made my mouth move, I made it smile, I made my hands move. I made myself ask questions, I made myself answer questions. I don't even know what I'm saying, but apparently I'm smart and clever. All I know is keep moving. Keep the lips moving, keep the hands moving. Don't freeze. Ask questions. What are their hands doing? What are my hands doing? Are they armed? Am I armed? What time is it? Who's here? Who's related to who? Are they friendly? Are they unfriendly? Just keep asking questions so you don't freeze. I can do this. In fact, I can be doing that so much that I don't freeze that the last thing you would think is that I'm going to freeze because I'm so not freezing. I'm anti-freezing.
Descriptions of the schizoid personality as hidden behind an outward appearance of emotional engagement have long been recognized. The schizoid individual is able to express quite a lot of feeling and to make what appear to be impressive social contacts, but in reality giving nothing and losing nothing because since he is only playing a part, his own personality is not involved.
For example, if you tell people who are stronger than you, positions of authority,
since he is only playing a part of his own
if you tell them something they don't want to hear, they're going to hit you with their strength. They're going to hurt you. They're going to make you pay for saying or doing something they don't want, even though there's nothing wrong with it or it's even correct to do, but that they don't like it, they're stronger than you. So you have to learn to give the appropriate responses in order to not get hit. I think we can all agree. If you're in a situation where you're going to get hit for giving the correct answers, it's really not a good idea to do that unless you have A, the ability to strike back, or B, the ability to survive the beating you'll get. I've often been in a situation where I had neither of those two options. So, luckily, natural law provided me with this spinning damage.
The last one is overexcitability. Overexcitabilities are sometimes used to help predict giftedness in both children and adults. The more excited or the more stimulated a sense is in a person, the more susceptible or prone his brain is to react in an extreme manner to anything that triggers it, thus the more possibilities of expansion and ways of learning there are in this person. Gifted people appear to be very in touch with their five senses, thus making them, in a way, more global than others.
As I mentioned earlier, when this gets to the public level that is bringing the greatest scrutiny that is possible, there will come the issue of my eccentricities, and I've put them out in order that if anyone wishes to use them against me, they can feel free. So this may seem odd after what I've just said, but I'm putting this forward as a demonstration of strength, demonstration of power. Because I am gifted, see synesthesia, and despite these eccentricities that I have, I am going to be able to help fellow humans out, and I'm going to be able to do so in a way that is patentable, in a way that is teachable, in a way that is able to be replicated. The strength of what I have to offer is so powerful that it is going to blow everything away. So what I want is to just clear the air now. Because once these distractions are out of the way, I know it seems like a lot of distractions, but then the strength and power of the theory I'm bringing can just stand. So I don't want to bring the theory out and then have people jump me out and saying that the person with the theory is a very eccentric person. So I'm just going to start with that, and that's going to make people think that I'm starting at a deficit. And I guess maybe I am. But my spirit's going to do that, and they assure me that I am so good at this metaphysical fucking golf game that you could give me the greatest handicap on the planet and I'm still going to win. So that's why I show this to you. Because none of that's going to stop me. Not me having it, not you knowing it, not anyone knowing it. It changes nothing. I have the right answers. I have the proof of those right answers. I'm going to show that proof. It's going to upset people. I'm not going to care.